Hello everyone, my name is Keiichi Miyasaka from Eco Electricity Company. For today, I've just created this video in attempt to explain something about the determination of the cut-off length of strip meniscometry test for dogs. Essentially, this talk is based on the paper we have published last year in 2019. The title was the novel strip meniscometry method for measuring equal tear volume in dogs. Clinical correlations with the Schirmer tear test and the Fenner red thread test. So there were essentially two issues that we wanted to discuss. The first one was the evaluating correlations among lacrimal tests involved in this study, but it's not the focus in this talk, so I will skip it. Secondary issue was the estimating the cutoff length of SMT for dogs in reference to the gold standard STT results. I want to talk about this in this video. Alright, let's see that the study was conducted at the Triangle Animal Eye Clinic somewhere around in Tokyo at the period of this time, where SMT represents the strip meniscometry test. PRT is not so important, but anyway, PRT represents the Fenner red thread test, and the STT is the abbreviation of the Schirmer tear test, STT. So keep in mind this SMT and the STT in this talk. These three lacrimal tests were performed on this condition. The sample size was 621, obtained from the left eyes from the 621 dogs. I believe that this number is large enough to ensure the statistical robustness. It's robust actually. Let's see. Okay. Here. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the result from now on. This slide is important. This is the frequency distribution of the STT results obtained from the total population. We divided the total population into 4 groups. First one, severe, moderate, subclinical, and normal states. The criteria was, you can easily find this criteria in any kind of the veterinary ophthalmology textbooks, 5mm, 10mm, and 15mm respectively. Now we divide the total population into 4 these groups, and which allows us to discuss something about cutoff length determination. Based on this result, we were able to form the ROC curve, receiver operating characteristic curves for SMT value. Plot A corresponds to the STT criteria of 5mm, and plot B corresponds to the STT criteria of 10mm, and plot C corresponds to the STT criteria of 15mm, respectively. Black line is for SMT. X-axis is the 1 minus specificity values, and the y-axis represents the sensitivity values. So we want to find out the best position, best value of SMT cutoff length at each plot. Let's have a look at the table now. I'm sorry that it's a bit messy, but this is exactly the same representation. This is exactly the same result as this plot, but simply different representations. This block corresponds to the STT criteria of 5mm, 10 and 15 for each, corresponding to the plot A, B, and C here. So the essential meaning here is that we simulate what's going to happen if we set up the SMT cutoff length at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 20. Then we get the computed result of the sensitivity, specificity, at each data point, which eventually forms this block line. So now we want to know what value, what simulation gave us the best result. Uh, for plot A, we got the 7 millimeters of SMT cutoff length, which was the best, which was suggested as the best result according to the Ewing index given here. In equation is a bit hard to understand, but you know, geometrically, the geometrical meaning of J is very easy. J means that the distance between these block points from this diagonal line. This diagonal line associated with the randomized diagnosis, so there is no meaning to perform this test, which means that we want to get the result, our result, as far away from this point as possible. So let's choose the farthest point from this diagonal line. This is the concept of maximization of the Ewing index J. Based on this consideration, we get the 7, 8, and 9 cutoff lengths for SMT, corresponding to the STT criterion of 5, 10, and 15 millimeters. These were the results we got so far. Okay, this is a summary here, but immediately the following question may pop up in my mind. Are these cutoff values obtained based on this consideration and Ewing index really useful in actual clinical situations? It's really questionable. I personally feel so, and of course we have to discuss more about it. But I would like to discuss a bit different manner. So I would like to come back to the original concept of SMT invented. So SMT was originally invented in 2006, yes, by Dr. Doggle, where the discussion was focused on the SMT methodology has some advantages, which is associated with the quickness, simpleness, and minimal invasiveness, something like that. This aspect is very useful if the test is used as an initial screening test, or let's say ruling out diagnosis, rather than definitive diagnosis. So means that we want to find out the healthy eyes from many subjects, rather than identifying the tear deficient eyes with this test. In this case, the sensitivity is more important than the specificity value. Let's come back to the table I showed you before. According to the Ewing index given by this equation, Ewing index J appreciates the sensitivity and the specificity equally. But now, if we want to, let's say, if we appreciate the advantage of SMT, we want to have the maximization of the sensitivity rather than the specificity. So from this viewpoint, I would like to suggest that 10 millimeter could be a kind of good number to use for the cutoff length of SMT. Let's have a look at this result of the simulation. What's going to happen if we set up the SMT cutoff length at 10? And then sensitivity is very high, still high, and 73%. It's okay, acceptable. At the expense of the very high sensitivity, we have to accept the kind of moderate number of the specificity, 65%, 69%, and 75%. And of course, there is no meaning to think about this region because sensitivity already reached 1, no increment anymore. Let's ignore this region. Also, Ewing index determination suggested 7, 8, or 9 here, around here. So we don't need to think about the values below 7 millimeter. So this is a bit difficult, of course, many different opinions, but if we take into account the original concept of strip meniscometry methodology, I would like to suggest that the 10 millimeter could be the best cutoff length for actual situation in the clinical practices. In the last slide here, I would like to show you a result of the kind of simulation. If you set up the SMT cutoff length at 10 mm per 5 seconds, then we will get very high negative predictive values. 99% for the severe state, 98% for moderate state, as well as the 86% for the subclinical state. Instead of that, we have to accept a kind of low value of the positive predictive values, of course. This is the expense. So, in summary, when we would like to suggest that the SMT cutoff length for dog should be set at the 10 mm by taking into account the original concept of the SMT, strip meniscometry test. Quick, simple, and non-invasive. So this test should be performed at the very beginning stage of the diagnosis to determine that this subject is healthy or not. So the main purpose is actually to rule out the normal eyes. I wonder what you think about this result. Anyway, I'm going to terminate my presentation here, and in the end I would like to thank these doctors, Dr. Saito and the other doctors from the Triangle Eye Clinic for their contributions. Thank you very much, and if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact this email address. Thank you.